Santa Fe High School. On the morning of May 18th, 2018, 17-year-old Dimitrios Pagortzis arrived at Santa Fe High School in Santa Fe, Texas. Wearing a trench coat and carrying a shotgun and a .38 caliber revolver he had taken from his father. Shortly after 7:30 a.m., he walked into first period art class and opened fire. The attack lasted approximately 30 minutes as Pagortzis moved through the school, targeting students and teachers across multiple rooms. By the time officers arrived and engaged him, 10 people were dead and 13 others had been wounded. Among the dead were 8 students and 2 teachers. In the aftermath, investigators discovered that Pagortzis had deliberately spared certain students, later telling police he liked them and did not want to kill them. He surrendered to authorities and was taken into custody without further incident. In the days leading up to the attack, Pagortzis had shown warning signs that were later recalled by classmates. He had worn a long coat to school every day for weeks despite warm weather. Investigators also found pipe bombs and pressure cooker devices planted around the campus, though none detonated. Pagortzis was charged with capital murder and attempted capital murder. Due to ongoing concerns over his mental competency, he was ruled incompetent to stand trial and has since been held in a maximum security mental health facility. The Santa Fe shooting became the deadliest school shooting in Texas history until it was surpassed 4 years later and one of the deadliest in American history at the time it occurred. Oxford High School. On November 30th, 2021, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley pulled out a 9mm semi-automatic handgun in the hallway of Oxford High School in Oxford, Michigan, and opened fire. The gun had been purchased by his father, James Crumbley, just 4 days earlier. Ethan had asked for it as a Christmas gift and had gone to a shooting range with his father the day after the purchase. That same morning, school officials had called Ethan's parents in after a drawing was found on his desk depicting a gun and a bleeding figure alongside the words, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." His parents refused to take him home. Hours later, Ethan opened fire in the hallway, killing 4 students. Hannah St. Juliana, 14. Tate Meyer, 16. Madison Baldwin, 17. And Justin Schilling, 17. 7 others were injured. Ethan surrendered to arriving officers without resistance. In the investigation that followed, prosecutors took the unprecedented step of charging both of Ethan's parents with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter each, holding them responsible for ignoring warning signs and providing access to the firearm. Both James Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbley were convicted at separate trials in 2024 and each sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. Ethan Crumbley pleaded guilty to terrorism and murder charges and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, making him the youngest person in Michigan history to receive such a sentence. Red Lake Senior High. On March 21st, 2005, 16-year-old Jeff Wise began his attack at home on the Red Lake Indian Reservation in Minnesota. That afternoon, he shot and killed his grandfather, Daryl Lucier, a tribal police officer, and Lucier's companion, Missy Dode. He then took his grandfather's police vehicle and 2 firearms and drove to Red Lake Senior High School, where he had been a student. At the school entrance, Wise shot and killed an unarmed security guard, Derek Brune, 28. He then moved through the school, shooting at students and staff in the hallways and classrooms. Inside, he killed teacher Neva Rogers, 62, and 5 students. A 6th student survived a gunshot wound to the head. When police arrived and exchanged gunfire with Wise in a vacant classroom, he turned the weapon on himself. 10 people were killed in total, including Wise himself, and 5 others were wounded. The attack was the deadliest school shooting in the United States since Columbine. Investigators found that in the weeks prior, Wise had posted messages on neo-Nazi websites and had written short stories and animations depicting school shootings. He had a history of mental health issues and had been placed on an increased dosage of Prozac in the months before the attack. Fellow students recalled that he had been bullied for years. The Red Lake tribal community held private funeral services for the victims and later established a trust fund for survivors and the families of those killed. Northern Illinois University. On February 14th, 2008, 27-year-old Stephen Kazmierczak walked onto the stage of a large oceanography lecture hall in Cole Hall at Northern Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois, while approximately 160 students were in the middle of class. He stepped out from behind the stage curtain at approximately 3:05 p.m. carrying a Remington 12-gauge shotgun and 3 handguns. Without warning, he opened fire on the packed auditorium. Students dove under seats and rushed for exits as Kazmierczak moved across the stage, continuing to fire into the crowd. The attack lasted approximately 2 minutes. He killed 5 students and wounded 21 others before turning the shotgun on himself as officers arrived. The 5 victims were Catalina Garcia, 20, Juliana Gayhant, 32, Gail Dubowski, 20, Ryan Mace, 19, and Daniel Parmenter, 20. Kazmierczak had previously been regarded by former professors and associates as a model student who had received academic awards and worked at a correctional facility. In the months before the shooting, those close to him noticed he had stopped taking his psychiatric medication and had become increasingly erratic. He had recently ended a long-term relationship and left no clear motive. Northern Illinois University canceled classes for a week and conducted a campus-wide memorial service. Cole Hall was later demolished and replaced with a new building, and the shooting prompted a review of Illinois state law on firearm purchases and mental health reporting requirements. Umpqua Community College. On October 1st, 2015, 26-year-old Christopher Harper Mercer entered a writing class in Snyder Hall at Umpqua Community College in Roseburg, Oregon. He was carrying 6 firearms, wearing a flak jacket, and had additional magazines. At approximately 10:38 a.m., he shot and killed the instructor, Lawrence Levine, 67. He then ordered students to get on the ground, asked them to state their religion, and opened fire. Witnesses reported that he told students who identified themselves as Christian that they would see God in 1 second before shooting them, though victims were not exclusively targeted based on religion. 9 people were killed, and 9 others were wounded. The victims ranged in age from 18 to 67. When Douglas County Sheriff's deputies arrived and exchanged gunfire with Harper Mercer in the hallway outside the classroom, he was wounded. He then ended his own life. Investigators found a total of 13 firearms connected to the shooting, all of which had been legally purchased by Harper Mercer or members of his family. He had no prior criminal record. His online activity showed a documented interest in previous mass shootings, and he had posted a message on an internet forum the night before expressing admiration for other attackers. He had a history of mental health issues and had briefly attended a school for students with emotional and behavioral disorders. The Umpqua Community College campus closed for 2 weeks following the shooting before resuming classes. The attack remains the deadliest mass shooting in Oregon history. Oikos University. On April 2, 2012, 43-year-old Won Go walked into Oikos University, a small Korean Christian college in Oakland, California, carrying a .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun. He had previously been a nursing student at the school, but had been expelled months earlier following disputes over a tuition refund and reports of behavioral problems. He arrived that morning looking for a specific administrator he blamed for his dismissal. When he could not find her, he forced a receptionist, Kathleen Alberto, 53, into a classroom at gunpoint and shot her. He then moved through the building, ordering students to line up against the wall before shooting them. 7 people were killed and 3 others were injured in the attack. The victims were all students except Alberto. After the shooting, Go drove away from campus and traveled erratically before stopping at a nearby grocery store where a bystander called the police. Officers arrested him in the parking lot without incident. He told investigators he had wanted to kill the administrator and had planned the attack for several weeks. At the time, it was the deadliest mass shooting in Oakland's history and the deadliest school shooting in California since 1976. Go was charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder. After years of legal proceedings, during which he was twice ruled mentally competent to stand trial, he pleaded no contest in 2017 to all charges and was sentenced to 7 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. University of Texas Tower. In the early hours of August 1st, 1966, 25-year-old Charles Whitman, a former Marine and engineering student at the University of Texas, killed his mother Margaret in her apartment in Austin and returned home to kill his wife Kathy as she slept. In notes left at both scenes, he stated he did not understand his own impulses and asked that his brain be examined following his death. Later that morning, Whitman arrived on the University of Texas campus carrying a footlocker packed with food, water ammunition, and several firearms. He rode the elevator to the 27th floor of the main building tower and climbed to the observation deck. At approximately 11:48 a.m., he began shooting pedestrians on the campus grounds and the streets below. His accuracy at long distances sent crowds scattering and